poetry is called God is Freedom. God is freedom, therefore she calls. As I dwell under the shadow of the Almighty, I heard a rumble of a warning like thunder from the sky, a whisper, may you not be swayed. Wisdom called out in the streets, remain steady and God will guide you. Wisdom still, to contentment, peace, tranquility, true love, and freedom. She echoes, be not tugged nor pulled by either side, be not persuaded, but be released from bondage, actually free. Free to speak, free to love, free to achieve, free to succeed and be whatever we would like to be, for they told us we were free. She cries, free to fly as a whisper on the wind. Do not let your heart be troubled. Trust in God. Trust also in me. John 14:1. War. Poetic moments lost by war and torment. Love lost in traumatic times, resonating in the wind. We shall not be moved. Throughout the heavens he hears a roar, knocking down all spiritual warfare, for it must come down somewhere. He prevails through justice and unconditional love, resounding freedom and equality. It is not boastful nor proud. It is void of arrogance and deceit. It contains not lust nor pain, but quills an enticing, blissful invitation. It cannot be refused nor missed. He redirects from shattering words that cannot be taken back, bringing peace and tranquility, moments hurled as a precautionary warnings of the blade that shatters. He persuades to humility and kindness that erupts the songs that quench the heart and intuition, causing you to bellow out songs of praise. Free at last, thank God we are free at last. I ask myself, why is there always war surrounding freedom and love? With God, all things are possible. Matthew 19:26. Beauty runs deep. She awoke to find herself in something like a fire, a pain so deep it was meant to steal her beauty, for in her Akashic, beauty runs deep. When she stumbled upon what was so dark, it intended to steal her shine and luster. In turn, it only made her more brilliant and beautiful. Bright enough to illuminate the world, she always had such a profound way of saving people, shouting wisdom from the mountain and rooftops. Attempting to rescue, to echo and shake up the core moral compass of our youth. She could never fall or fail, for her strength and beauty were so deeply ingrained. So deeply rooted in her moral code that from the ashes, like the phoenix, she will always rise triumphant. Shout for joy to the Lord, all the earth. Psalm 100, verse 1. The Emancipation Proclamation is a declaration that was signed January 1st, 1963. This is the proclamation that states all men are created equal. This is also the law that ended the so-called enslavement of the African American Israelites. Though slavery didn't truly end, due to the fact that most of our families were still owned by their plantation owners, most families went on to be owned for a time and a half, as the Bible states. Due to the fact that they were charged for certain necessities that were utilized for their time during enslavement, segregation was implemented after the proclamation was signed. This ensured that African Americans and Caucasians were still separated. African Americans were still blackballed. There were white-only fountains and bathrooms. Most Africans were stifled and sabotaged in their efforts to become independent and live freely on their own. This was done in an effort to coerce them back to work into the plantation for a very small wage that was not enough to sustain their life. Though as an act of desperation, a lot of them did not know where to go or turn, and so they returned to the plantation owners, identifying with their masters. Allowing the same energy that took them into enslavement to begin with to continue to control their lives. It wasn't until 1963, with the great revolutionary acts of Martin Luther King Jr., the bombing of the Birmingham, Alabama church, and the destruction of Black Wall Street, did the dream of Sam's Cooks, a change is gonna come, actually take hold. With great revolutionary leaders like Malcolm X, Rosa Parks, and the Black Panthers movement, did we finally see change in our society and community to lead us to integration in the world we see today. They paved the way for the greats like Oprah Winfrey, Alicia Keys, Jada Pinkett Smith, Bob Marley, Will Smith, Michael Jackson, J. Cole, and Nas, to continue the revolutionary pathway to open up to humanitarian work, not just here in the United States, but all around the world. In places like Africa, Ethiopia, and many other places, to fight for equality and adequate living for the African community. Environments for those minorities that have been oppressed. I want to celebrate not just today, but this entire year, just as we do for Kwanzaa, with the wonderful principles that keep us tied to our youth and our roots, to excel and exceed beyond any trial or tribulation attempting to hold us back. May we continue in our pathway of all of the great revolutionaries to continue to fight for equality, for injustice still exists today. Thank you so much, and God bless you all.